Hi guys, welcome back to Data Playground. I'm Gabriel Udio, and we have another project looking at us today. This project is going to be different from the last one we worked on, that's the auto pipeline project, because everything we are going to be building today would be built with formulas alone. So we are not writing scripts, we are not going to be working with any automation engine. There's no external dashboard. So we're just going to be working purely on Google Sheets in this project, and everything we are going to be working with formulas, no automation in this project. So we are going to be using real data this time, the sample superstore data sets. The data set has just under 10,000 rows about. You have now 9,995 rows, and it cuts across every US region. You have different products categories and a lot more subcategories. So there's one thing you should know about these data sets before we proceed. This particular version of the data set has no dates and no individual product names. So only subcategory level detail are available. So we might not be able to track a single product's stock over time, but instead we are going to build something that's arguably more useful for business like this, and it's going to be a per unit profitability signal that tells us which subcategories are worth continuing to stock at all, and it's based on how much profit each unit actually generates. And so that's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but we are going to push through it. So through this project we are going to try to answer five research questions which I brought out, because it's going to give us a direction on what to do. So the five questions are: the first one is which regions, states, and categories drive the most sales and the most profit, and are they always the same ones? We are going to answer that through this project. The second is which subcategories generate strong profits per unit sold, and which ones move a lot of volume but barely make money or lose money outright. The third is how does the discount level, affect profits? Is there a point where discounting pushes profits negative? And the shipping mode relate to profitability at all? Are there certain ship modes that are quietly eating into margin? And the last is if leadership could only check uh, one dashboard once a week, what would it show them? So these are the five research questions that we are going to try to answer through this project. So before we proceed download the data set, I already have the one I worked on. So I'll just show you the kind of work that we are going to try to do today. So we have the raw data sets here. When I downloaded the data set, this was the only sheet that came, the raw data set sheet. And so if you look at this data set, we can see that we have about one, two, three, okay, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 columns in this raw data set, and we have the columns represented like ship mode, we have segments, countries, city, states, postal code, region, categories, subcategories, sales, quantity, discount, and profit. So for analysis to be complete, we are going to build about six extra columns, and we'll build them by making use of formulas. And so the columns we'll be building, we'll try to build a line ID column. The line ID column we'll build is going to be let me show you my working data for guys, that we are going to have something like this now. We need this column A because uh, the original data sets had no built-in ID, so there's no way to really track each of the products. Then we are going to build another column which we'll call profit margin, or profit margin percentage column, and we use this special column to try to calculate the profit margin as a percentage. We'll also build another column which we'll call profit per unit. Yeah, so it's going to give us an idea. So we have another discount bracket column, we have stock efficiency signal column. I'm going to explain this. This is a very important column. And then the last is going to be the performance tier. Now, of course, like we already saw in raw data, none of these 5 columns exist at the moment. So we are going to build everyone by ourselves. And that's the whole point of having this project. So let's head forward to download the dataset. Now, by the way, the link to these datasets, I'm going to drop the link in the description of this video so you can follow along in this project. So I already have it here. I'm just going to, because I want to start afresh, I'm just going to download it and then proceed from here. So I'm just going to say download, and I'm going to download datasets as zip file. So let's see. So it has downloaded. I'll just come to my downloads folder, and I would extract the datasets here. Extract, yeah, extract all. Yeah, extract. Very good. So this is our datasets here. It's now download archive. This is the folder here. So I'm just going to go back to, I'm going to, because I did my majority of my work in a Google Sheet, so I'm just going to open a new Google Sheets file. That's docs.google.com. .google.com. So let's see. So I think I'm going to start by opening a blank document. Oh, why do I? Oh, sorry. This is not where I wanted to be. I was supposed to be in Google Sheets. Sorry about that. Docs.google.com spreadsheets. Yeah, I wanted us to go to a spreadsheet, not the Word document. So I'm going to open a blank sheet, and we'll try to import the one that we just downloaded now. So, or we can even open one that already exists on our system. So I think let's import it. Let's import it. Say upload, and yeah, this is it. So I'm just going to open it. That's loading. Should be ready soon, and then we can proceed with our work. Once it's done loading, it's a whole lot of it's a really large data set though. So I'm going to say replace sheet, separator type, detect automatically. I'm going to just say import data. So let's see what we have here now. Very good. So our data set is here already. So first of all, I'm going to just name it Sample Superstore project. And let me just say Super Store project. Yes. So if you can look through the data, we can see we have about 9,995 rows. So if you subtract the column names, that will be 9,994 entries into these data sets, and we have the different column names that are here. So before we proceed, what we are going to do is now one very important thing that you should always learn to do as an analyst is to create a copy of your original sheet, because your original sheets might be necessary if you want to go back to a few things, or let's say if you make a mistake, you understand, you might want to go back to the original sheet. So it's always best to create a copy of your original sheet so that you can then carry out your work using the new sheet that you just created, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to rename this as raw data, and then I'm going to create a copy of this particular sheet now. So I'm just going to right click and I'm going to just say duplicate. So I have the copy of the raw data now. So I'm just going to rename this to working uh, data. And so we can proceed with our work now. So the first thing I will try to do is I will try to I'm going to add one more, like what I showed you in the data set I worked on. We're going to try to add a column at the very front, because this data set has no unique identifier at all. And to do that, we are going to use a formula. So let's just proceed to do this. I'm going to first of all right click on this particular column and I'll say insert one column left. Now this column I'll call it line ID, and then I'm going to do something very interesting. I'm just going to use this equals to row, and then I'd say -1. I mistake it through subtract 1 from it, and then I'll enter this. Now why do you have 1 here? This is supposed to be row 2, right? It took the row number and then subtracted 1 from, that's why you have 1 here. So at this particular point here, I'll just double click so that it fills the rest. So if you scroll down, you can see that that's by double clicking that circle. You can see all the lines have been labeled now. So that's the very first thing that we just try to do on this data set. So now before we proceed, let's try to carry out a quick audit of this data. But before then, I think it's necessary to try to remove all duplicates. So I'm going to click here, right? You can see what I just did. So I'm going to just click at this particular point, and then we try to remove all duplicates that are in this data set. How do I remove duplicates again? I'm not sure if I can remember how I how I remove the duplicates. How do I remove duplicates? I really can't remember. So let me just right click within data sets here and see. Uh so what's going to happen is anytime I really can't remember exactly where to go, and I'm trying to work and maybe I'm finding it this way, because I just click the whole of this and then I go to help, right? Then I just search the menus and it said duplicates. So remove duplicates rows. Uh, sorry. I was going to say data has a header row. Yeah, very important. I was going to say remove all duplicates. So no duplicates were found. That's the very first good thing about this data set. It has no duplicates. So fine. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to add filters for each of the columns. Very necessary. So I'm just going to click on this particular the row 1 here. I'm going to come to this part of the data set and I'm going to just try to sorry I'm going to try to add filter, sorry, yeah, create a filter. So I'm going to say create filter. So I've successfully created a filter for every row in this particular data set. Now it's very necessary. We'll need these filters later so that we don't have to be scrolling through our full data set. We can just come wherever we want to, wherever we want to find details, and what have you. It makes our work pretty easy for us. So let's start our full data audit now. Check your check your categories column, for example, and let's see how many rows do we have. You check the count here. The count is 9,995. That means that yes, our data set is complete. Next, we are going to try to let's try to click each of these column headers. We have 9,900. Okay, sorry. Just come here. You can see 9,995. Our data set is actually complete. It's actually complete. I think there's no, I'm not sure there's any missing row. 9,995 also. Check column, say 9,995. This is the same thing. Just be taking a look at these counts here. Wherever I click, column E the same, F the same, G. I would need to check this 9,995 complete. This is the same category. We already checked that. Subcategories. Let's check this also. 9,995. Column L, same thing. This is the same thing. And this is the, what this means for us is that there are no missing cells. That's another good thing about this data set. We do not have any missing values in this data set. Next, we are going to just try to let's try to check for consistency in these data sets. Let's try to check for consistency in this data set. So what we are going to try to do is to, we are going to try to sort I'm going to try to just sort just a ship mode, our segments, uh, our region, our category, and subcategory alphabetically, because these are the categories that like they really matter to us. So we are going to we are going to try this because we want to look for maybe near duplicate spellings or stray white spaces. So let's see well, first of all, we can just make it easier for ourselves. Let's come to this filter. This is the reason why I said we needed filter. And now we can see the different ship modes that we have. We have first class, same day, second class, standard class. Now what this means for us is that these are the only four values that we can find in the full ship mode column. And you can see that the spellings are all correct. Now if there was another one with a wrong spelling, if there was a particular value with a wrong spelling, we would actually see it as a fifth. Okay, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I change this to seconds class. I've changed that to seconds class. I will come down here and you can see you have seconds class. So you will know already that yeah, there are places where things are spelled wrongly. So I think that particular column is already okay. There are no spelling errors that are there, and we know the type of values that are there already. We have first class, same day, second class, and then we have the standard class. So we are going to just do the same thing for the segments. For a segment, we have only three segments. We have consumer, we have corporate, and then we have home office. Next, we are going to go to the region. The region we have central, east, south, and west. These are the only four values that you would actually find here. Next, let's go to category and subcategory. For categories, we have only three categories, and of course, there are no spelling errors too. And subcategories, we have accessories, appliances, art, binders, bookcases, chairs, copiers, envelopes, fasteners, furnishings, labels, machines, paper, phones, storage, supplies, and tables. So I guess on spellings, we are okay. There are no duplicate values from what we've seen, and there are no empty cells. I think this data set looks, quite clean. So let's try to do something else too. Let's try to check for hidden trailing spaces in these data sets. Now the reason why we want to do that, we want to look for near duplicate spelling, and stray white spaces. Now we can select any of these columns that we want to, that is this ship mode, segment, or region, category, and subcategory. We'll just quickly work on them and see what we have here. So to do that, we are going to say equals to trim. For example, we want to work with this ship mode. We are going to say trim B2 So I'm just going to say trim B2, and then do this, and then B2 again, right? So I'm just going to say enter. You see false. False simply means that there are no trim. I'm just going to say autofill. Now I'm seeing false here, right? False. Whenever you see false, it means that they are not training spaces. But how sure am I that it's only because I cannot scroll through all 9,000 and something? So I'm just going to see the importance of the filter again. I'm just going to come to this filter and see my only value is here, it's false. If there was true, then I'll see false, I'll see true also. So yeah, I think that particular column is okay. I'm just going to repeat the same thing for the segment column. Segment is column C, so I think I'll just say column Control Z. I'm going to say the same thing again here, equals to trim C2. I'm going to say C2. Yep, false again. So I'm just going to quickly check it. That column is also okay. There are no issues there. So I'm just going to say Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. And the next one we want to check is our region. We have category and subcategories. So I'm just going to say equals to trim. Region is H, this column H. So I'm going to say H2. And then H2 false again. I'm just going to check this. Yeah, it's fine. Sorry, by the way, if you're not if you're not very conversant with spreadsheets, and you're wondering how am I writing H2 or whatsoever, how do we know it's H2? For those of you that uh are just trying to whet your appetite with projects, because I understand that some of my subscribers on these channels are probably just starting fresh in data analysis, and as at the time of recording this video, 19th of July 2026, I have not made any video yet on spreadsheets. We are still in the introductory part. So there are some of my subscribers, you might not have the knowledge of this. How did I know H2? H2 is column H, right? And then the row 2. That's how we reference sales. Anyway, when I introduce spreadsheets, I'll still talk about all this, how to know what's in spreadsheets. So if even if you're a beginner, you can still follow along just to whet your appetite. And if you're already a pro, you're looking for a project to work on, this is also fine for you. You can always check my projects playlist on this channel, Data Playground, and you see other projects that are there. And if you are a beginner, feel free to also check our playlist where we are looking at data analysis from the beginner's perspective down to becoming a pro. Every single tool will be covered there. That's also very friendly, and you can follow that up too. So I'm going to repeat the same trimming for I2 to see if there are trailing spaces. So I'm going to say I2, I'm going to do this I2, and then I'm going to check this also, and you can see false also. So I think this data set is really clean, if you ask me, because we would have seen true somewhere to show that, oh yeah, there are trailing spaces and all. So let's check the last one, and I'm hoping that this one too will be fine, so we don't have to stress ourselves at all with doing any form of special cleaning. uh Complete, and that's all. There are no trailing spaces anywhere, so check our data set is also complete in that aspect. Then we are going to try to validate the data. Mind you, if you checked one of our videos where I talked about the what to do first before you proceed to cleaning your data, there are some things I said, things like validate and what have you. Now, spending 15 minutes doing this check would actually help, to prevent you from making mistakes that you need hours to try fixing. So that's the importance of doing all these data audits. You understand? So you can correct the mistakes early enough. So to validate this data, we are going to try to use minimum and maximum on the sales, the quantity column, the discount column, and the profit column. Now the thing is, we know that it's impossible to have a negative quantity, right? We cannot be having, you cannot sell -2 of a product, like it's impossible, right? So but discount also, uh you can't have a discount above 1 here, because a discount above 1 simply means above 100%. All, mind you, all these 0.45 simply means 45%, 0.2 means 20%, and also these are discount values. But now if you see a discount value of, let's say, 1.5, that means that you are saying 150% discount. Is that even possible? No, it's not possible. So that's another reason why we are going to look for mean. And once you check what's the highest value in this column, what's the lowest value, that will tell us, okay, if this is working fine here. So let's just quickly do that. So I'm just going to say, okay, in fact, let's not waste our time. I'm just going to click the top of this column K here, and let's go to this down part here. Let's do writing formulas. We can see our minimum value is 0.444, and our maximum value is 22,638.48. That's fine. Then I'll go to column L, that's here. Our minimum value is 1. That means one product, one quantity of that particular product was sold, and then the maximum value is 14. Then on the discounts, our minimum value is 0. That's no discount. Our maximum is 0. That's 80% discount. Wow, generous enough. Then in our column N, where we have profit, now we have negative profit. Negative profit, there's no error there. That just means loss. Negative profit simply means loss. And then you have maximum as this. Before we proceed, one thing that is very important. This sales column here should represent currency. So I'm just going to quickly go to format, come to number, and then I'm going to format it as currency. Yeah, very important. Okay, this one represent number. This one is percentage. So I think I'll just format it as percentage here. Yeah, I think this is nice. Yep. But I don't think, but I'm not sure if I want to be having decimals in my percentages here. So I'm just going to come here and say decrease decimal places. Yeah, I think this is much better now. Then in my profit too, I'm going to just format that as a currency. So I think so far so good. We are good to go. Now, one last thing that we should try to check is the postal code. Now, postal code normally should be 5 digits in the US. In the US, postal codes are usually 5 digits. So let's see if we have the case of four. Wow, just what I suspected. We have cases where we have 4 digits. Why do we have 4 digits? We have 4 digits here because initially there was supposed to be a leading zero, that is supposed to be 01040, but because the postal codes were taken as numeric values, the leading zero at the front was probably thrown away. So we are going to just try to quickly we're going to try to correct this. I think that's was the only thing that we are going to be doing here. Or also we might just want to for our text columns, we might just want to, proper, we want to standardize our text columns. So we are going to be making use of helper columns to do all this. So let's start by working with our postal code, since that's the first error that we've seen here. So first we are going to create a helper column. I'm going to right click here, I'm going to insert one column left, and then I'm going to say postal code. Yep, and just say postal code here, and then I'm going to say equals text, right? I'm going to say G2, right? And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to say 0000. I'm going to put this. I'm going to say, so it should be 5 zeros. Why I'm doing this is to force it back to 5 digits, right? That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to press enter. Now I'm going to autofill, and let's see. We still have, yeah. So now we have this here already. Now that's exactly what we're trying to do. Now I'm very sure that we don't have 4 digits again. So what I'm going to do to make sure this is standard is I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to format it as plain text so that nothing breaks it. Then because I want to now this column that is here is referencing the values in this column H is referencing the values in column G. And I can't skip the two columns. I'm supposed to delete column G and just replace with column H. But if I do that, okay, let me show you. Can you see what happens? We've broken it already. So let me quickly do Control Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click column H. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to click it again, right click. I'm going to use paste special. I'm going to paste values only. So now I can confidently delete column G and nothing will be affected again. I think that's nice. So let's just say delete column. All right, so our data set is not broken, and now we've successfully fixed the postal code uh, issue that was here. Now, why am I having blanks? Oh, okay. I thought I was having blanks. I thought I had blanks here. Okay, so let's uh let's proceed. So now we have the next thing that we're going to try to do is to standardize the other text columns. So I'm going to do that for for shipping mode for segment, and I'm just going to right click here. I'm going to say insert one column right, and then okay, no, I don't feel like I don't feel like everything was done perfectly in this postal code. Let me do column Z or Control Z again. I'm going to take out the whole of this guy. Right. So I don't know. I feel like something was not done properly here. So first of all, let me format this as plain text, right? And let me still check again. Okay. So okay, we still have those 4 digits, right? So I'm just going to permit me to just quickly do this again. Insert one column, right? I'll call that postal code. We already know what to do. Oh, sorry. Postal code. And then I'm going to say equals to what did I do again? Okay, I did text what number G2, right? That's what I'm referencing. I'm going to say 00000. That's 5 zeros. I'm going to close that. Yep, I'm going to do this now. So then I'll do my paste, my copy, and then I'll do my paste special. I'm going to paste as values alone. Yep, I think that's that. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done there. So everything should be working out fine now. All right. So I'm just going to delete and confidently delete my column G now. Sorry, I had to repeat that process again. I wasn't just sure of something, so I had to make sure that I've done the correct thing there. So let's come to ship mode and just standard. We're going to standardize ship mode segments, region, category, and subcategories. Since those are the columns that really matter to us, I'm just going to say insert one column to the right. I'm going to call it ship mode also. Ship mode, right? And then I'm going to say equals proper. Proper, what do you mean by proper? If you were writing words, let's say a name of a person, or you were starting a sentence or something, you would naturally capitalize the first letter and the rest will be small letter. That's the importance of having a proper. So we're going to just say proper, and there's no need to say trim again, because when we tested for trim, we saw that all our test columns, the trim was what was false. Is there even need to do this also? I don't think there will be need to even perform this particular standardization. The reason why I'm saying so is, okay, first I'm going to delete this. I think this is not necessary again. I'm going to delete this because when we checked, I'm just going to show you something. When we check this particular, for example, this ship mode, and we filtered, we saw that all the names there, everything was proper already. First letter is capital, what have you. The same thing happened with the segments. When we checked, you can see customer, corporate, and then home office. The same thing happens with the country. The same thing happens with the the city names too already. region which matters to us also, it's already proper. You have the category already proper, and then the subcategories, they are already proper. That means first, so there's no need to do that anyway. And yeah, mind you, you might be wondering, initially we didn't see blanks, but now we are having blanks. The reason why we are having blanks is this. Let me scroll to the bottom of my data set. You can see where this line stops, this green line stops at 997. These rows here, these empty rows are the reason why you are having blanks. So it's really nothing to worry yourself about. So at this point, I think we've done most of our necessary data cleaning. What we are going to proceed to do now is to try to build our derived columns. Now, the next column I'm going to try to build is what we call the profit margin percentage column. Profit margin percentage. That's what we're going to try to build next. Why do I have capital here? I shouldn't be having that. Okay, so profit margin percentage column that's here. What we are going to be doing now, how do we calculate profit margin? We calculate profit margin by saying this profits divided by the sales. That's how we calculate profit margin here. Profit divided by sales, right? So that's what we're going to just say we're going to say equals to. Now, because in cases where it's possible that in sales there might be zero values, even if I'm not sure there are any zero values here anyway, but it's possible that in sales there might be zero values. So what we are going to do in order to prevent having error anywhere, because if you divide a number by zero, you'll have an error that is called the division error, where you have hash hashtag div and what have you. So we want to prevent that. We are going to say if error, so that whenever we're supposed to have error, it should return zero instead as the value. So we are going to say n2 over k2 then comma 0. Why we have comma 0 is so that if we do n2 over k2 and we're supposed to have an error, instead of putting error, it's to put 0 there, which is more logical. We want to have only numeric value, so we just press enter and then autofill. Now I'm going to keep this column as percentage also. I think I'd like to reduce the decimal places that are here. Oh no, since this particular one was a calculation, so there's no problem. We can clip it because we definitely have something like this place now. We have a 31.25 percent. So yeah, that's cool. Oh, and mind you, I'm not sure if I did this. Double click each of these lines to adjust the adjust so that you can see your values properly. Double click each of these lines. I would like to see them properly, so it's quite necessary that we do that. Double click this. The subcategory is not showing completely now. Double click it here so that everything shows out completely. And yeah, I think this is nicer. Thank you. Yep. So yeah, profit margin PCT. Then the next one we'll try to calculate is the profit uh, per unit. Let's try to calculate the profits per unit. So how do we calculate the profits per unit? To calculate the profits per unit, we have to say the profits divided by the quantity. What is it? This is the total profit that's here, right? Okay, maybe for us to understand it, what we are going to do is that let's try to rename these total profits so that it will make more sense to us. So I'm just going to total profits. Yeah, I think this makes more sense. And then for the sales, I'm going to rename it total sales. So that is going to make more sense to us. Like, what does it say? Is it total sales or per unit sales or what have you? So yeah, I've done that already. So now to calculate the profits per unit, we have to say the total profit divided by the quantity that was sold. That gives us profit. But again, we're going to use the if error so that in cases where maybe quantity sold was 0, what will happen is that it will avoid error and just return 0 in that case there. So we're going to use the if error again, and then we are going to say N2, which is the total profit, divided by total quantity, that's L2, and then comma, comma and 0. In case you are not seeing what I'm doing at this point here, you can try to look at my formula bar here, and then you see what I'm doing. So I'll press enter there, and then I'll just autofill. Now I think it'd be nice to just format this as a currency. Oh no, sorry, it's supposed to be the whole column. I'm going to format it as a currency. So yeah, we have our profit per unit now. Right, the calculation is done for us already. Now the next column that we are going to try to add would be what we'll call discount bracket. Now we have a lot of discount values given to us in this data set, but if we were to build chart out of all the values given to us, the chart would really look messy. So it's much better if we decide to push them as different discount, put our values in different discount brackets. So I'm just going to right click. I'm going to insert one column. Right now, this particular column, I'll call it discount bracket. Discount bracket. Now watch what I'm going to try to do, and I would prefer you watch this for my formula bar that's here while I'm writing my formula. So I'm just in this particular place, I'm going to be using if logic, but it's going to be ifs because I'm trying to put multiple if conditions inside inside one. So I'm just going to say ifs, so say equals to ifs, right? I'm going to say if M2, if the discount, that's M2, is equals to 0, right? I'm going to say it should return no discount. Then the next condition I would say is that if that same M2, right, is less than or equal to 0.1, I want it to return the discount as 1 to 10%. That's what I want it to return. Then I want to also say that if M2 is let's say less than or equal to 0.2, by all these I'm basically meaning that, okay, 0.2 simply means 20%, right? I know we've already formatted this particular column here into percentage, but it will still read here as normal. So 0.2, I want it to read for me as 11 to 20%, and then the last condition I will give it is that if M2 is greater than 0.2, I want it to read for me as 21 percentage and above. I'll just put plus instead of an above there, and then I can close my nested if, and I'll press enter there, and so just let autofill is this. Now if you remember the formula that we just wrote here, why do you have no discount? Because the discount here is 0, 0 and 0. Why do you have 21 plus percentage here? Because if judging by our formula, if this is greater than 0, that's greater than 20%, you should read 21 plus percent. So you can see everything is just working fine here. So we can even try to filter this to make sure that, okay, we have all our values as we stated them. So yeah, we can see cases where we have 11 to 20%. Discount was what, 20%. The same thing happens in this particular case, 20% here, and what have you. So yeah, it's working fine. That particular formula is working fine. So we successfully added 1, 2, 3. Now we'd like to add another column. The next column that we'll try to add is what we call stock efficiency signal. Reason why we are having stock efficiency signal, first of all, we want to try to combine the quantity and then the profits per unit, and we are going to do that using logic statement. Now the truth is we are not just trying to flag anything that loses money, right? We're not just trying to look at, okay, what are those products or categories that are losing money. Now, because a single low volume order, for example, that's, like the quantity sold is, if it's low, for example, and it's still losing just a little money, it might not be so much of a business problem for us. But in cases whereby we are looking at items that are having high volumes, you know, maybe you're having up to seven and what have you, you're having items that are having, high volumes, like five or more units, and you are still losing money per unit. That's a real business problem, right? So it's like there's high effort because you are selling a lot of quantity, but still you are having negative return. So that's the reason why that's why we want to have this stock efficiency signal here. So we're just going to create another column. Start one column, right? This particular column would be stock efficiency signal. Efficiency uh, signal. Yeah, I think that, oh, I would like to make it bold, Control B, and I think it's nice to see it completely. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So again, observe my formula bar here, please. Just observe that, please, so that you see exactly what I'm trying to do with this formula. So we're going to merge. We're going to use conditional logic in this case here. So I would say if, right, now, and now if is condition and is logic. That's why I said conditional logic. So if let's say, now where are we looking at? We're looking at quantity sold. Quantity is column L. So if L2 is let's say greater than or equal to 5, right, and P2 is less than 0, right? Now this is the very first case. I would say because you're having high quantity and low, column P is the profits per unit, L is the quantity sold. If you're having high quantity sold and your profit is less than 0, probably negative, that is a very serious problem for business, because it simply means that the more quantity you are going to sell, the more money you are going to end up losing. So in such cases, what do I want my logic to flag for me there? I want to say something like review this particular product because it has high volume, and yet you are still losing uh money in this particular case here. Right, now the next thing I will try to say is, okay, another case is if, now if I have just the profit is less than 0, all I want to say is that, okay, this is just losing money. That's P2 is less than 0, right? I would just say losing, uh let's say loss making. Let's just say you are just making losses, right? Now I'm not considering quantity because it's possible that, okay, in this case, even if you are making losses, the quantity sold might not be really high as much. Then the next case I will try to say is another if. Now in this case, now I want to try to say, okay, if P2, that is if profit, right, if profit is, let's say, less than $2, it means that you have a very thin margin there. If you are not careful, you might start entering the negative. So if P2 is less than let's say 2, so I can say thin margin. You should watch. And then If none of these conditions is fulfilled, then flag it as healthy, right? And then I'll close all the brackets I opened. I opened up to how many brackets? I opened one, two, three, one, what have you. So I'm just going to close all the brackets that I opened in this case here. One, two, three. So that's all. And voila, we have our work here done. So you can see in this case that is healthy now. It's healthy because you had quantity sold to and profit per unit is about $20. Why do you have this case here? Because you have high, remember our logic said if the quantity sold is 5 or more, that was our logic, right? And then the profit you are still losing profit. That's less than zero means negative number. Review high volume losing money. In this case now, our logic said if profit is less than $2, here you have what, $1.26. So even if quantity is this, we didn't consider quantity, we just consider in cases whereby the profit is less than $2, you have a very thin margin. So yes, our logic is working very fine there. Next, we are going to create another column. That column we are going to call it performance tier, where we are going to classify each items to their different performance brackets. So again, I will just right click here and then insert one column, right? And then this I would call performance tier. All right. So for this, I'll be using multiple if condition, but I'll just nest it inside one. So that will be ifs ifs. Oh, sorry. Why? Uh, oh, sorry about that. I guess my network for a minute there went bad. Uh, Sometimes I do have this poor network like this. So I'll just say equals to. Oh, wow. I'll just say equals to and then ifs, and then I'll open my bracket and I'll say if p2 is greater than or equal to zero point 0.2, I want to say top performer, and then close the quotes, and then another condition would be if p2 is greater than or equals to 0.05, I would say that this is solid, and then if p2 is greater than or equals to 0, I would say marginal, and then for every other value that appears in the different cells in this column, I would say loss making. All right, so you can see my formula bar here to see the full formula, and then I'll just press enter, and then you can see I can then autofill it. So I have top performer and loss making, top performer, solid, and the rest of them. So that will be that on this a worksheet. Now we are going to create another sheet that would now that is what that's where we are going to put our lookup tables, because we want to see the summary for each of these subcategories. So we'd have to create a new sheet now where we would be able to bring all this in. So I'll just come down here and then I press plus to add a new sheet. Now this new sheet, I would call it a subcategory summary. Yeah, that will be that there, and then I can proceed to what I have to do. So first of all, in this tab we're going to create the following columns. Let's create subcategory column. Subcategory, why do I have capital issue is small u there? Okay, subcategory column, then I'll have my category and I'll have a total units sold. I'll have total sales, total profit. I'll have average profit per unit. This is going to be summarizing everything here. Average. Why did I just? Sorry. Okay, I forgot to put my A. Average profits per unit. I would have average margin percent. I think I would like to put that there. Average margin percent, and then I should have my stock efficiency signal. So the purpose of doing what we are trying to do is we don't want to just be working with the larger data set. We want to create a smaller, summary sheet where we can see everything that we want at a glance. It makes our work easy for us. So that's the reason why we are having this summary sheet. So first, to pull all subcategories, to pull all the subcategories in column J. So to pull all this, now if you check, we have about you have about 17 subcategories. I don't have we can't just start typing all the subcategories by ourselves. That would be time wasting. So to pull out all the subcategories to make sure that nothing repeats itself, remember we are looking at what? Column J here. So we'll go to our subcategory summary sheet, come to this point, and then we say equals to unique, right? And then we reference our working sheet. The name of the sheet is working data. So we are going to say working data, and then exclamation mark, and then we're looking at J, right? But now oh, sorry about this. That J starts from a J2. That's where you have the first subcategory there. So I'm just going to say, I don't know why I'm having multiple of this. So I'm just going to say J2. J2 is where you have the first value, and then down to everything in the column J. Then I'll press my enter there. Why is it saying looks like your formula is missing one or more close? Oh, I've seen that. I used a single quote here and then use a double quote here. I should also, if I'm using a single quote, I should keep it steady. So I'll close this and press enter. So you can see all subcategories, all 17 of them have been brought out, right? It gave us everything that is there. So with this now, we can proceed to start filling up all the other columns. Now for the category column, we are going to pull out the categories using supply. We want to know, okay, what category is supplies, what category is appliances, what category is paper, what category is tables, and the rest of them. To do that, we are simply going to be using the XLOOKUP. Now, how does the XLOOKUP work? XLOOKUP works by saying, okay, you reference a particular cell where you want to check for values, right? Then the next thing that you do is now you go to the particular sheet where you are lifting up your values from. Okay, let me just show you. I mean, it's not going to make sense to try to say something like that. So I'm going to just use the XLOOKUP, right? And then first of all, I want to look at cell A2. So I'm going to say A2 first, right? Then what is the range of our subcategory in our working data? That's supposed to be working data J2, everything in column J. And then our category column is where's our category column? Category is column I. Column I is our category column. So I'm just going to come back here and then I'm going to close my brackets. But first of all, I would like to put I2, right? And then I'll press enter or to fill everything. So you can see now that supply is subcategory is supply, category is office. Remember that we have only 3 categories of all our entries. Let's go and check here. if you check, we have only three categories: furniture, office supplies, and technology. So every single subcategory in column J is actually shared within only three categories in column I. So that's why you can see supplies and other office supplies, and appliances, office supply, paper office. So you end up having only the three, which is office supplies, furniture, and technology. So that's what you have here. Before we proceed, I would like to separate my column from the rest of my data, so I'm going to make everything bold there. Next thing I would like to do is for us to calculate the total units sold. So to calculate total units, I'm going to use my sum ifs, right? I'm going to use sum ifs. Now, how does, sorry, this should be equals to sum ifs, right? Now, how does the sum ifs work? We want to look for this particular category supplies, right? So what are we going to do? We are going to go to our categories, the subcategories, or sorry, for we're looking at total quantity. Sorry, is that should not be there. Oh, total units sold is quantity, this thing. We're looking at quantity rather. So I'm going to say sum ifs. Go to our quantity range. This quantity range, right? That's column L. So I'll just put L2 because I want to start from the very first member that is here. Then I'll put my comma, right? And then we are working with the subcategory. The subcategory is a column J. So I just put that there. And then I want to use okay, no, this should be column J rather, right? So I want to work with J2. I'm going to put my comma. And then we want to find for each of the subcategories how many quantity of that was sold. That's what this formula is trying to do for sum if, right? That's why we have to come to working data and pull out all the quantities, pull out all the subcategories. Now be specific now for supplies, which is what A2. And then we close our bracket here, and then once I press enter, it means that there were 647 units of supplies that were sold. So I'm just going to double tap this small circle that is here so that it can populate our values that are there. So total units sold is what? Now let me show you something very interesting. I'm going to highlight all this. What is the sum? 37,873 items in total were sold. Let's come and verify from our quantity, this thing column here. So I'm going to come to the same quantity. We have the same number, 37,873 items that were sold for each of them. So yeah, our work is correct there. I believe it should make sense. Then we're going to try the same thing for total sales. We are going to use the same sum if formula, right? So what I'm going to do in order to save time, I'm just going to copy the whole of this. Now, where do we have our sales? Where do we have our sales? We have all our sales in column K, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come to this particular point, then come to my formula bar. I'm going to press Ctrl V, and then I'm going to change this to K, because that's the only thing that is going to be edited. We're looking at it in terms of sales now, no longer in terms of quantity. So I just need to change that particular guy to K, and then I'll press enter. And so total sales here is what? Oh, it has been updated already. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to convert all this and make it as a currency. So our total sales here, if you can see it down here, is 2,297,200.86. So I would come to this particular column and also verify. You see, it's the same value that is also here. So that has been calculated correctly too. We can just repeat the same thing for the total profit. The total profit is a column N. So I'm just going to come to this particular place here. I'm going to press Ctrl V, and then I'm going to change the L to N also. Let's see, capital N. Oh, okay, because I'm using caps lock. So I'm going to change this to N also, and then that will be all. And then I would like to bring this down here, and then I would make this not just that. I want to make everything here to be in terms of currency. So total profit, you can see here, is what 206,397.02. Let's come to our total profit also and verify that same value. You can see 206,397.02. So that's being calculated properly. Now, what about the average profit per unit? We just need column P also, right? So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to put my I'm going to place my focus on that cell. When it comes to my formula bar, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to change with P rather this time now, and then I'm going to press enter. So you can see average profit per unit. I'm going to draw this down. I'm going to expand my column, and then I'm going to convert all this to become this guy that is here. For where we have 77,946.92, which is the same thing that's here. Profit per unit 77,946.92. So all our calculations are being calculated. Everything is being done properly. What do we have on a profit margin percentage? Profit margin percentage is column O. So we're just basically going to repeat the same thing. I'll come here, I'll press Ctrl V, and then I'll change to O, and then repeat the same thing here, O, and then press enter. At this point, I'll just drag this down, and then I would double tap this, convert everything here to percentage. So yeah, you can see 12,241% point 74. The same thing that is here also. If I click on this 12,247, so calculations are being performed properly. Now, how do we pull out the stock efficiency signal? Now, because in this case, stock efficiency signal was pulled by saying, okay, if an L2 is greater than or equals to 5, that's because for quantity you're having these guys you have 3, 2, 4, 5, and what have you. But in this case we can't use 5 again. It's best to look for a higher value, because now we are looking at it in terms of total units. So you understand, no longer individual. Here in this sheet that is here, we're looking at each of these subcategories as individual. 3 supplies were sold here, right? In another case here, if we go down here, we have 5 supplies that were sold, right? But now we've accumulated everything. So this is an accumulation here. It would be wrong for us to still use that greater than or equals to 5. So let's try to look for a reasonable number. In this case, we can decide to use 500 in this case here. Yeah, which I'll suggest that it's best we use something like 500 to carry out our work. So what I would do here is the same formula anyway that we are going to use. It's just the same formula that we are going to be using here. So what I will do is I will just copy everything here, Control A. I will do Control C, and then I would come to this particular point here, and then I will do Control V here, because we have to save time instead of typing everything that we want. So now we are supposed to be looking at it in terms of the profit per unit. So profit per unit is column F here in this case. So I'm going to change us to column F, right? And then if the total units sold, rather, that's supposed to be column C, not column F. Total units sold, column C, and the profits per unit is column F here. So yeah, that's one that I will change from P to F, right? Then in this case we are using F again. F again, and I think that's all the place I need the necessary correction. So review high volume losing money. Now I'm just going to draw this down so we can see. Now what this means is that what does this formula mean here? If this will be 500. First of all, yeah, C2 is greater than 500. All right, review high volume losing money is still okay. There's no problem there. So I'm just going to copy this down and then do this. Now let me explain what this formula is doing. We are saying that if C2 is above 500, that means that if the total units sold is above 500 and the average profit per unit, this is less than 0, that means you're having high quantity that is sold but negative profit per unit. We want to say review this particular record or review this particular transaction, we're having high volumes here, and yet we are still losing money. That's the very first case. That's why it flagged this. It's already flagged this here. Then we are saying here in this case, if f2 is less than 0, right? We want to say, okay, this is making losses, and if f2 is less than if the profit is less than 2 here, we are saying team margin was. I just observed something about this data set that is here. Oh, sorry about that. Why? What's changed? What changed? Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I observed something about this average margin percent. Why should we be having 21,000? Sorry, 2,120 point. This is not ordinary. Something is obviously wrong here. Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? I think. Why do I have working data O2 O. Why am I having something like this here? I'm having, okay, this is profit margin percentage, and why am I having this here? Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Oh, now I finally understand what's wrong. Now, you notice that in this case and this case, we're dealing with averages. Yes, we use sum, right? So yeah, that's where the issue, that's where the error is. So first, I'm going to copy the whole of this formula. I'm going to say Control C first of all, and then I'm going to try to just erase everything that is here, and then I'll come to this particular point, and then I'll paste it again, but this time it will be changed to average ifs, because we can't be using sum for cases where we have averages there. So I'm going to average. Thank you. Now that's it. Makes a lot more sense there. So you can see it's even affected our values that we are having here. So the same thing is supposed to apply to this case. That is there. Control A. I'm going to do Control C. Then I'm going to delete everything that is here. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to paste this. I'm going to change this to average ifs. Sorry about that. Average. Yeah, average ifs. Yeah, finally. Makes a lot more sense, because I mean, I shouldn't be having strange kind of values like that. So this is it now, all looking good. So at this point, we can now proceed to try to answer the different research questions that we had. Like, for example, which regions, states, and categories drive the most sales and most profit? Number two, which subcategory generates strong profits per unit sold? The third question is, how does the discount level affect profit? The fourth is, does shipping mode relate to profitability at all? The fifth is, if leadership will only check one that once a week, what would it show them? So that's what we are going to proceed now to answer. So for all these questions, we are going to create a new tab to answer each of these questions, right? So let's start with Q1. So we create a new tab, and then I'll call it Q1. In this Q1 tab, we are going to create two sum if tables side by side, and this table would know, they will show sales and profits by region, and then they will show sales and profits by states. So this is going to show us, whether the states driving the most sales are also the states driving the most profits. Remember the question we are trying to answer: which regions, states, and categories drive the most sales and most profits, and are they always the same ones? So that's two questions in one. That's why we want to know, okay, this is driving the most sales and profits, like, are they the same? That kind of stuff. So in this first step, we're going to just type region. Next, we're going to type total sales. I'm going to type total profits. So next we are going to try to type in all the regions that we have. First of all, I think I would like to make all of this bold. Control B. Now, what are the regions that we have? Instead of wasting our time, trying to specify all the regions, let's use that unique function again. Region is in column H, right? So I'm just going to come here and say equals to unique. Let's specify let's not waste our time. Sorry about that. I'm just going to come here and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say this. And say column H. Okay, I don't know why I'm having all. I shouldn't be having this. I must have made a mistake somewhere. So I'm going to say, well, let's just come here and take what we need. This, right? I'm just going to say H2, and then I'm going to close this bracket that is here, and that's all. Yep. So you can see everything has been filled for us here already, right? Then I'm going to come to my total sales. Now for total sales, we want to calculate each of these sales, right? By their different, we want to calculate total sales for each of these different regions that we have. So we are going to be using SUMIFS here again. So I'm just going to say equals to SUMIFS, and then I'll open my brackets. Now, where are we going to now? We have to go to our working data. We're going to look at our column K, which contains all the total sales, right? And then I'll put I think I would like to use K2 there. And then we are going to compare this with we are going to compare this again inside our working data for each of the regions that we also have here. So I'm also going to say H2 here. And finally, which value are we trying to specify? We are trying to specify this A2 that is here. And then I'll close my bracket and press enter. So you can see that's total sales for that particular guide here. And then I'm going to format this as currency. So you can see what we have: 501,239. We can verify to make sure that this is complete and correct. So you can see 2,297,200 is our total sales. So we'll go to our working data column and just check our total sales also. We can see that it's the same value that we have. That has been calculated correctly. So we just repeat the same process for our total profits. Now, what's the profits? Total profits column is column N, right? So I'm just going to let's not waste our time. I'm going to copy all of this formula, Control A, Control C. I'm going to come to our profits here again. I'm going to go to my formula tab, and I think we just said total profits is column N. So I'm going to change this to N instead. It should be N. Yeah. So I'm going to press enter there. So our total profit has been calculated for us, and then I would highlight all of this and format it as currency. Now I want us to observe something together. What was in the question 2? The question 2 said, which region, state, and category drive the most sales and most profits? Are they always the same ones? So we have to create another one now. This one is for regions, right? We are going to try to create another one now, which would be for states. That's what we're going to try to do. So let's do the same thing again. In E, we are going to type states, right? Sorry about that. I'm going to say Control B, and then in F, I'm going to type total sales, and right. And so that, and then in G, I'm going to type total profits. Now remember, we're trying to look at two different. We're trying to look at total sales and total profits in terms of states, and the total sales and total profits in terms of regions here. So here we're going to fetch. Let's fetch all the. We're going to fetch all the states that are here. So we just simply say, where are all the states? All the states are in F, right? So let's just pick out all the states by saying equals to unique, and then we are just going to say from working data, we want to pick out everything in column F, right? So I'm going to say F2 down to this guy, and that'll be all here. So we've picked out all the states already. South Dakota to Texas, and the rest of them. So next thing is for total sales. Now for the total sales, it's going to be the same type of formula, but in this case we're going to look in terms of E2, not A2. So I'm just going to say Control A, Control C. I'm going to paste the same thing here, Control V, but now it's going to be a E2. And not just that, for our state is column is F, right? Is it not? So I have to change this H to F here, F, and then F, and then I'll press enter. So our total sales in South Dakota is 1,315.56. So I'm going to convert all this to currency as usual, and then I'm going to come to this point again. I'm going to say Control V, or Control C rather. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I should just say Control V. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to say Control A, Control C. Yeah, this is what I wanted to do. And I'm going to say Control V here. But now from our working data, the total profit is column N, and total and state is F. So we are supposed to change this to N. I'm going to change this to N, and then yeah, this is already F here. So that will be all, and then I can double tap this so that it highlight everything, and then I'm going to just draw this down, and then as usual convert to the currency. So let's try to do something. Let's highlight all of this test table so that we can make a few observations. Now then I'll come to data. I'll come to I want to sort. Yeah, I'll come to sort range, right? And then I'll go to advanced range sorting options, and then I'm going to say, yeah, of course it has a header row, and I want to sort from Z to A. So no, this is not what I wanted to do. Sorry, data sort range, and sort by column E, sort by this. Data has header row. Why am I having? I should not be having something here. Man, I think I'm just going to undo a few things here. Advanced sorting. Did I do something wrong? Z to A. Did I? Okay, I'm just going to press Control Z. Control Z. Anyway, for now, there's something I was trying to look for in my data set. But anyway, we're just going to use our eyes to try to figure it, right? So at this point here, if you look at this, for example, for South Dakota, we are having a total sales of 1,315, and then this is the profit here. Now Texas had higher sales but then made loss. That's the point I'm trying to drive home here. Having a higher sales doesn't mean that you had profits. One of the things that affects higher sales is selling more quantity, right? So if you sell more quantity, you will definitely have a higher sales. But in cases whereby you had very large discounts, definitely you might not run at a profit, you end up running at a loss. So even when your total sales was much higher, you find out that you still had losses because what the discounts was a very large value. You understand? So because of that, that's why you are saying that okay, for example, now you have Pennsylvania having $116,500, and yet the loss is still you still have a loss of up to about $15,000. So higher sales value does not always equal higher profits. One of, like I said, one of the things that affects higher sales is because you've sold a larger quantity, right? But then if discount is very high, you might still end up at a loss even if you sold higher quantity. So that's the whole point we are trying to drive home here. The same thing happens in this case here. For example, okay, for example, in this case now, in the south, you had a sales of about $391,000, and then the profit made was about $46,000. Now in the central region, you had a higher sales of about $500,000, but the profit was lower, about $39,000. So that answers this first question here. Which region, states, and categories drive the most sales and most profits? Are they always the same ones? No. That's the answer to the question, right? They are not always the same ones. And then you want to know which of the regions. The most sales came from the west, and the most profitable region was also from the west. Then you have the states here. For the states, the states with the highest sales was, let's see. The states with the highest sales was obviously California, and then the states with the highest profits also was California too. So we can move to question 2 now from this point here. So I'm just going to create another sheet, and I think I'm going to like to come back to the idea of sorting. I don't know. I can't really remember exactly what I did when I did my sorting the first time here in sorry, in this data set, because I remember I did the sorting here. So for some reason I don't understand why I can't remember exactly what I did. But anyway, when I remember exactly what I did, I'm going to come back to it again. So possibly while you're watching this video, you know what to do. Please just do it. Yeah, I think that would be better. So I think data has sort by sales. Yeah, sort by sales. Z to A. Sort, no. It did not work. So I'm going to take Control Z. Let's not stress ourselves. Anyway, come to question 2. Now, for question two, what's the question? Is which subcategory generates strong profits per unit sold, and which ones move a lot of volume but barely make money or even lose money outright? What we are going to try to do in this case now, to answer the question, now we are going to pull every subcategory from the subcategory summary table, and then we are going to sort by average profits per unit, looking at the worst first, and then the ones that flagged review high volume losing money would go at the very top. So let's just quickly try to do that. So I've added my tab for it to answer my Q2. Then I'm going to simply let's create a subcategory SUBCATE GORY, and then of course I'm working in my subcategory summary table, right? So I'm just going to come here, and instead of typing all subcategory, I'm going to use my unique, and then open my brackets here. I'm going to come to this point here. I'm going to select everything in column A, but now I'll be specific to say A2 because I don't want everything. So I'm going to press enter. All you can see, all my subcategories have magically appeared in column A here. Now the next thing I'm going to try to do now is that what did I think we're just supposed to just pick out everything. I believe it would have been nice to just pick out everything and try to. Okay, you know what? Let's come back to this point here. Now this is what I'm going to do. This I'm going to say first Control Z. Think I'll come here, and then in this point here, let's see, how do we go about this? For example, if I come here and How did I do it here again in my other data sets? How did I copy all values from? Oh yeah, I remember. So I used this equals to sort, SORT, and then I did um I did subcategory subcategory. We're looking at the subcategory summary sheet. So I'm going to take my values from the subcategory summary sheet. I'm going to say A2 to H18, and then true. All right. So I'm going to press enter, and let's see, what do we have here? Oh, wow. Yep. So this is basically the same. This what you can see in this Q2 is the same thing as what you are seeing. Okay, I think I'll just label, let's label it properly. Subcategory. This was category. Next was total units, so total sales. Okay, let's not waste our time. You know what? I'm just going to copy everything that is here. Control C, and then I'm going to come to this point, and then I'm going to Control V. Now let me explain what has happened in this particular sheet that we have here. This sheet, this Q2 sheet or Q2 tab, and the subcategory summary tab, they are actually the same thing. The difference between this Q2 and subcategory summary is that this particular sheet, it has been sorted out now. Now we sorted it from the ones that have to do with review, high volume, losing money, down to the next category, to steam margin watch, and then finished up with what's healthy. So that's because of having this particular formula here. So this is we are sorting by column 6 of that particular, like, which is like average profits per unit. That's why you have this here. We pick the particular range from A2 to H18. We are sorting by column 6, right, which is the average profits per unit. And what we did was now to sort from the smallest, which is the worst, first, right, down to the best. But that's why you have the negative values that are, for example, minus 15.57 is the most negative, or is actually the least value that is here, and then going down towards the highest value. So let's come back to our question and see if we've answered it. Which subcategory generates strong profits per unit sold? Strong profits per unit sold subcategories is what? Copiers. That's the strongest. Everything from art to copiers are taken as what's healthy, right? And the strongest being what? Copiers. That's the very first question answered. And then the second question is, which ones move a lot of volume but barely make money? Ones that lose a lot of volume but barely make money are the ones, for example, the one with thin margin here. For the case of thin margin, we can see that we had what? 914 units sold, but then you barely made profit of $1 per unit, right? And then the last part of this second question is, which ones lose money outrightly? The ones that lose money outright, of course, review, high volume. This you have these subcategories here: tables, bookcases, and supplies. Sadly, about two of them happen to be furniture, so I guess a lot of losses are coming from furniture, right? Before you talk about the office supplies. And I think technology category is doing fine. You have the phone, accessories, and copiers. So next up, we're going to try to answer the question 3. The question 3 says, how does the discount level affect profits? Is there a profit where discounting pushes is there a point rather where discounting pushes profit negative? So we are going to try that now. So again, we're just going to create this. I'm going to call it Q3, and then we are going to try to answer that particular question.
So to answer this question, we are going to be looking at the average profit margin by discount bracket, and we are going to be using average ifs here. Like at some point in this table, we'll be able to see the points where the average margin finally crosses from positive to negative, and based on discounts. So let's just try. We are looking at discount brackets. Discounts. And then we're looking at average uh, profit margin. So I'm going to make this too bold. I'm going to think I would like to see what we have here uh, properly. So now in working data, we have different discount brackets. Right, the discount brackets were from Q2. So I'm just going to select the unique discount brackets that are here. I'm going to say equals to unique, and I'm going to open this. Then I'm going to come to, oh sorry, I'm going to come to our working data. I'm just going to select column Q here, and then I'm going to change this to, because I want to start from the second value, and then I'm going to filter out all the unique discounts. So this is what we have here, and then I'm going to select the profit margins also, but this time remember I said I'm going to use average if, so that will be equals to average ifs, right? Now for this average ifs, now I'll be saying working. Let's not waste our time. Let us go to our working data. And now what do we have in where's our profit margin? Column O is our profit margin, right? So I want to select only the second, from the second of value, which is the 26%, and then I'm going to put my comma. Now I'm trying to compare my profit margin percent with my discount brackets that are here. So there, of course, that's also going to be here. So I'm going to say Q2, and then finally, what cell am I trying to compare the values? I'm trying to compare them with what is in what A2, which is no discount that is here. I'm going to press enter here. So of course I have this, and then I'm just going to draw this down to fill all places. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to change to percentage. So you can see now that when you had no discount, the profit margin was about 34.02%. When you had 11 to 20% discount, you have a profit margin of about 17.48%. For discount bracket of 1 to 10%, you have profit margin of 15.58%. But when you had from 21% plus, when you are giving a discount from 21% and above, you are likely to have losses. That's why you are saying now from 21% plus discount bracket, you're having a profit margin of minus 78.45%. That's a very huge loss, almost 100% loss from giving a discount of 21% and above. So we can see now, let's check if we successfully answer that question. Does shipping mode relate to profitability at all? Oh no, sorry, question 3 rather. How does discount level affect profit? Is there a point where yes, how the higher discount levels will of course reduce the profit that you are likely to have? So let's go to question 4 now. What's question 4 saying? Does shipping mode relates to profitability at all? Are there certain ship modes quietly eating into the margin? So to answer this question, what we are going to do is that we are going to build a table on the average profit margin percentage by ship mode. And again, we are going to use average ifs. So we're just going to name this first part ship mode, and then the second column will be named average profit margin. All right, so I'm going to make this control B also. Now we're going to just pull out the unique ship modes that we have here. Unique, and then I'm going to come to my working data, and then I'm going to pull out ship mode. Ship mode is a B2, right? I'm just going to come back to this point here. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have been having this equals to unique, right? And then I'm going to come to this point here, that's column B, and then 2, and then close the bracket. That's all. So I've pulled out all the ship modes that we have. Now the next thing is to get the profit margin using the average if. So again, I'm going to say average ifs. Again, as usual, I'll go to my working data, right? And then I'll go to my, where's our profit? Our profit margin is column O. So our profit margin percentage column O, as I'll take O2 since that's where I want to start from. And then I'm going to go to the various ship modes that we have. Ship mode is column B. I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to, number to the second value again. And then I'm going to round it up by going back to our Q4, and then I want to select for, so that you can, each of them for that particular ship mode, what's the profit margin. So again, of course, I'll do this, and I like to convert everything to a percentage. So we can see that second, for ship modes or goods that were shipped using second class, we had the highest profit margin, 15.02%. For first class, 11.59, standard class 11.01, and then for ship modes of vice, for same day shipping, we had 13.82%. So now we've successfully answered question 1 to question 4. Question 5, now we are going to proceed to build our dashboard. That's just what we are going to do to be able to answer question 5. So let's move forward to to build our dashboards here. So I'm going to just call this dashboard. Oh no, dashboard. All right, so let's proceed. So to build our dashboard, I'm going to start by hiding the grid lines here. I'm going to hide the grid lines in the data. So I'm just going to go to view, and then where we have show, I'm going to uncheck grid lines, and so all the grid lines have gone. And next, I'm going to zoom out also, because dashboard might be containing a whole lot of things, so it'd be nice to just view out. So next, I'm going to merge cells. I think I would like to merge cells A1 to L1, where this is going to contain the title of the dashboard that we are trying to build. So I'm just going to type in trade flow retail performance dashboard. Trade flow retail performance dashboard. So I'm going to, I think I would like to centralize it. I'd like to make it bold, and then I think I would like to change the color of the text to maybe white, and then I'm going to have to change the background color. So I think I'm going to have to add maybe a custom color, say ash 0b1. Let's see, um, ash 0b not b1 f3a. Yeah, I think I prefer this particular color. Looks cool to me. Then I'm just going to increase the font size. Yeah, I think this is good to me. Trace the retail performance dashboard. All right. So the next thing I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to type region here. Now, what I want to do at this point is I want to create. I want to be able to filter, right? Like maybe I can filter between I can filter my chart across different regions. That's because of doing what I'm about to do here. So maybe I will just say select uh, region. Yeah, I think that's much better. Yeah, select region. So, oh no, no, Control Z. Uh, Control Z. Why? Why is this happening? Oh, sorry about that. Why I should not be having this. I want to bring, okay, I was going to, should we select region, select region. I think I'm just going to
make this a bit smaller. So now at this point here, I would have to create a drop down in this B3. So I'll just go to data and I'll look for data validation, and then my data validation I'll add rule. Now in this rule I would like to filter by uh yeah, apply to range. You have, yeah. Then I'm going to just change my different options, right? So already this is in drop down like from list of items. So I'm just going to type the various regions I have. The regions, I'll start by saying all regions. I should also have east, um should have west, I should have central, and then the last would be south. How did I know about these regions? If you go to, for example, okay, that should not be this. I'm thinking, yeah, these are the regions that you have: central, east, west, and south. So you want to filter by either all regions, or you want to be specific to the central, the east, the west, or the southern region. So I'm going to change this to, I think I'm just going to change the colors, right? And then um, let's see what this means. Yep. Yeah, I think this is best for me. Uh, what's in advanced options? Okay. So let's see what it looks like for us here. If I come down here, yep. So I can say all regions. So anytime I want to filter, I just filter by any of these here. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. So then I can also, the color of this I can change to this same uh where is it? Yeah, I'll just probably fix this color here, right? So, and this one here, the font would be white. Makes a lot of sense to me. So here I can easily filter by all my different regions that I have. So you can see all regions here and what have you. So I can filter my regions here. All right, so I think that's nice enough. So we are going to proceed to building five helper tables that would actually help us to successfully build our charts. So here's how it's going to go. In order to save time, I already have my formulas which are already prepared down here for the different tables that we are going to build. The first table would be sales by category. The second would be sales average margin by ship mode. The third table is going to be on is going to be based on the sales for the different states, and then the fourth table is going to be average margin for each discount bracket, and then the last table is going to be of the average profit per unit for the different sales categories. So in order to save time, like I said, I'm just going to be going straight to making use of the formulas which I already have here, but I'm going to do my best to explain them so that you understand what each of them is doing. So I'm going to come here and then start with the first one, which is sales by uh, category. So that would be, I'm going to put my sales, and sorry, this should be category, not sales. Category. So on our working data, category column is column I. So I'm going to fetch out all the categories using equals to unique. And so I'm just going to make reference to working data. I'm going to pick column I here, and then I'm going to change this to I2 because that's what I just want there to fetch. And to do this and
Press enter. So all my categories have been listed out already, as you can see them. Then the next page, I'm going to pick sales, right? And then at that sales there, like I said, I'm just going to get down this formula that I already put here. So you have this. I'm just going to say Control C. Oh, by the way, I'll try my best to drop to release a note on this video, so in case you have issues in following up, you can easily go back to the notes and you're able to pick something out of it. So I'm just going to paste this here, Control V, and then I'm going to press enter. So you can see for for each of the categories, you can see there. Okay, let me zoom in a little so you can see my screen. Oh, nope. Okay, I think that this nah, this is too much. I think I'll keep it at 125. Now you can see that for the different categories, for example, for office supply, this is the total sales for all regions. For furniture, this is total sales for all regions. Technology is total sales for all regions. Like now, I could decide to also filter by region. I could filter by east. You can see the values have changed for the various region, different categories. Likewise, the west. Likewise, the central region, and then lastly the southern region. All right. So that's what you have there. That's the very first table that we've just created already. So I think I'll take this back to 75, and I'm going to try to create other tables. The next table we'll try to create is the average margin by ship mode. The average margin by ship mode, let me create that here. Okay, I'm going to say average margin by ship mode. Of course, it's going to be average percentage margin. So I think I'm going to merge these three cells together. I'm going to say merge, and then I'm going to push that to the center. Then I'm going to make everything that's there bold. So I'm going to type ship mode. Okay, and then at the next point I'm going to type average margin. Yeah, so for ship mode, what's my okay, let me make this bold first. Control B and Control B. So I think, yeah, that's nice. Now it's looking much better. So this is what is going to happen. Average margin by ship mode. Of course, I need to go and fetch out what's my ship mode. Okay, first let me just do this. Caps lock as usual equals to unique. Open my bracket. So I'm going to fetch out all my ship mode now. My ship mode is column B here. So I'm just going to come here and then put 2 because I want to start fetching from the second guy and downwards. So I'll just press enter. I can see all my ship modes have appeared, and then for my average margin, I'm just going to take down this formula I already had here. Oh, that's right. I said I was supposed to be explaining what each of the formulas mean. Yeah. So Control V and then press enter. Of course, I'm going to have to convert this to percentage, because remember our margin here was always in percent. You have profit margin percentage here, so I'm supposed to keep that as percentage. So I'm just going to highlight all of this and I'm going to convert to percentage. Now, in order for us not to get confused, let me explain what's happening in this formula. So you have this particular point here. Let's go to our formula bar. We said if you had $ B $3 is equals to all region. That's because you want to make sure that you are always referencing this particular guy. This purpose of having $ is what we call absolute reference. Keeps the cell they are referencing locked. That's what it does. So that even if you change the position, it's always referencing this particular guy that is here. Then now we use average ifs, because we want to look at multiple conditions here. Now we want to say, okay, the first case here is we want to go to our working data. What's in column O? What's in column B? Let's go back here. Our column O is profits margin percentage, and our column B is what? Ship mode, right? We want to match the profits percentage for each of what this ship mode. We want to match now. Okay, say for example, pick out second class from all the ship modes, right from the ship mode column. pick out second class from the ship mode column and what get the average margin that is tied to that. So wherever there is ship mode throughout the whole of this wherever there is second class throughout the whole of this ship mode column, it picks out all their different marginal profits percentage, and then what it does for you now is to now then find what's the average. So that's why you had this in D13. Now by the time I shift to this point, first class, it has changed towards D14, so it will always change for each of these values that are here. Is going to work on this. Now, what is the second part of this guy doing? We had working data and they were referencing what H. Where is H? H is what region. So we are basically saying now we're also going to do the same thing, but now do a filter that says, okay, anytime I change any of these regions, the average margin should filter based on that particular region. So we're actually in the real sense working with three different columns in this working data. We're looking at the ship mode, we're looking at the profit margin percentage, and then we're looking at what the region that is here. So if I change to east, you can see that all my average margins have changed values, right? If I change to west, the same thing. If I change to central, the same thing. If I change to south, the same thing. So that's how the filtering works there. So that's that. We are going to still create another table. The next table that we are going to create is going to be the sales for the different states that we have there. So I'm just going to come to this part. I'm going to say sales by states. Yes, so I'm going to say sales by states. Going to merge that. I'm going to make it at the center, and then I'm going to make it bold, and yeah, I'm going to just type sales. Oh no, sorry about that. I shouldn't have done this. Sales. No, sales. Permit me. Thank you. And then states. Oh no, it should be state and sales. Very interesting. Yeah, sales makes a lot more sense now. Then do control B. Oh no, I didn't want this to happen. Control B and then control B. So I'm just going to copy this formula. Oh man, I totally forgot. I did something like that. So I'm just going to say control V, and that's all there. So I have this, and then I'm just going to expand this. And so what this means for me is that every time I filter by a particular region, for example eastern region, you can see all the states have been filtered already. Western region, same thing. The central region, the southern region, right? So it's filtering by region now. And I'm going to come to my sales column. Of course, I'm trying to do sales for each of these states. So I'm just going to say control C. Let me do control V there, but I'm going to edit this formula because it should not be G, it should be H13, not G13. So it should be H that's there because I'm trying to reference Dakota, not that kind. Yeah, so it has worked out fine now. So I'm just going to draw this down, and then I'm going to, of course, expand this, and then, of course, this sales is supposed to be in currency. So I'm going to switch this to currency, and so every time I think I should filter here, for example to the eastern part, I see only eastern states, every other thing is showing 0. I wouldn't like that to happen, but let's leave that for now. I'm going to probably look at that later. The western part has been filtered, the likewise the central part should be filtered, and then the southern part also is what's filtered. So I'm just going to take back to all regions so that all regions can then show. Now the first table we're going to build is discount brackets, and then that's the average margin in percentage for each of the discount brackets. That's the next thing that we're going to try to do there. The average margin by discount bracket. Average margin by discount bracket. Alright, so I'm just going to merge all of this, and then I'm going to centralize it, and then going to merge this. I'm going to make everything bold. Yeah, so that makes a lot more sense to me. And why do I have, okay, I think I just need to merge this. Yeah, so it covers all through. So I'm going to, in this point here, I'm going to call this the average. No, I'm going to say discount bracket. The next will be average margin. So I think I'm just going to do this here. So that will be all. I think this needs some yep. Why is that, oh, okay, I think anyway that will adjust itself eventually. So for the discount bracket, I think it would be nice to just pick out all the various discount brackets that we have automatically. So I'm just going to say equals to unique, and I'm going to open this, and then I'm going to go to our various discount brackets that we have, which is column Q here, and I'm just going to put my my Q2. I'm going to come to this point and close my bracket, and then I'll press enter, and that'll be all my discount brackets are clearly showing there. So I'm going to close this a little because it seems to open for me. Then to get the average margin, the same thing works again. I'm simply trying to compare the, for each of, why am I having division by 0? Why am I think I must have referenced something wrongly. J, oh, that should be K13 here, not J13, K13. Yeah, did I reference it wrongly in any other place? Let's see. Yeah, K13 here, K13. Yeah. Yes, when I was working when I was running this as a project the other time, before I made this video, the other ones I worked on was reading at J13, so I guess that's where the error must have come from. So that's this is what we have anyway for the average margin by discount bracket. So we are able to get the average margin for each of the available discount bracket. I'm going to convert this to percentage. It should be in percentage. So that's that there. And then okay, I think it would be nice to just against the control C there. All right, so at this point we've created 4 tables already. We have just one more table to try to create. The last table we're going to be creating would be on the average profits per unit for each of the subcategories that we have. So I'm just going to go down to this particular point, and then I'm going to say, what are we calculating again? The average profits per unit by subcategories. So I'm going to say average by subcategory. Yep. Yeah, I think that'll be all. Subcategory. So I'm just going to make this I'm going to have to merge all of this together. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to merge everything together. I'm going to centralize everything that is there. So at this point, average profit per unit by subcategory. So I'm just going to come to this particular point, and then I'm going to have to list out subcategories. Category. Then I'm going to take out this part as average profit per unit. Yeah, so that will be that there. I think I'll just merge these two together and make it bold, and come this one, and then I'll make it bold also. So yeah. Alright, so you have to list out all the subcategories equals to unique. So I'm going to come to this particular point, and then I'm going to take J, and I'm going to take number 2, J2. I'm going to press this. I'm going to press enter. All my subcategories has been listed out here, so I need to calculate the average profit per unit. To get the average profit per unit, I'm just going to use this particular guy that's here, and then I have to be careful of my referencing again. Okay, so you have, what's this? You have A20. Okay, should have started from A19. It should be A19. The same thing happens here. Should be A19, not A22. Yeah, A19. Alright, so press enter there. Now that's properly done for us. So this of course should be currency. Alright, so we have 5 helper tables there, and I think maybe I might just want to add a little coloring to everything that's there. Maybe the different I'll just add this color. Yeah, that should be that. I think that looks nice enough. Just going to add this color, and sales by state. I'm just going to add, just going to use this. Anyway, not like it's going to be visible. They're all going to be behind our charts, but I just need these helper tables because they will determine if it's possible for us to filter our charts or not. That's the reason why I'm just creating this, but it's not like they are going to be very obvious when we are doing our charts. Alright, so these are 5 helper tables. You can see that if I do any filtering, every single value in all the tables are going to filter. So at this point, we can proceed to build our various KPIs. That's what we're going to try to do next. We're going to put our KPI cards. Our KPI cards. The first KPI card, we are going to try to look at the total sales. So I'm going to say, let me say I move to this particular point. If I move here, yeah, seems fine. So I'm going to say total sales. And then I think I should make it bold, and I should make it at the center. So inside here, I'm going to simply use this particular formula. I'm going to do this. Now what this means, again, I'm still referencing the filter, and I'm trying to sum all the sales from our working data, right? And then now this second sum if is for the case of filtering. You are trying to sum all the working data for our various regions based on the region that has been selected here. So I'm just going to do Ctrl C and then Ctrl V. So for most part of the work that you are trying to do, these days, to be very honest with you guys, I use AI to do most of the work I try to do. You don't always have to. It's important that you understand the concept, the underlying concepts behind it, but it's also very necessary that you learn how to work smart. So there are a lot of things that you don't necessarily have to always like waste your time on. A few things you can delegate. AI tools are there. You just need to understand what it's doing for you. That's the most important stuff that's there. So anyway, I have my total sales to be if I zoom in, I'm going to zoom in. You can see my total sales to be 2,297,200.86. If I change the region to Eastern region, this is what I have. If I that's total sales in the Eastern region, if I change to West, this is what I have as total sales in the Western region. If I change to, sorry, that should be, I should have changed to Central. This is what I have. And then if I change to South, this is also what I have there. So I'm just going to come back to my total my all regions there. Then I'm going to also create another KPI. The next KPI I'm going to create to be total profit. And again, and it just works the same way total sales works. So I'm going to say total profit. So make this Ctrl B. I'm going to centralize it again. Then I'm just going to paste this Ctrl V. So my total profit is $206,397.02 dollars, which is for all regions. Again, I can filter too and then you see my values changing also. So I think I'll just give this particular color. I think that's nice. The next KPI card I'm going to create would be average margin. Average margin as a percentage, but mind you, let me format this here. So average margin as average margin percent. Oh no, I think I'll like this here, like this. That should be okay. So average margin percent, I'm going to make Control B. I'm going to try to centralize this. And then I'm going to apply my formula here. I'm going to just say Control V. That's 12%. The average margin is 12%. That's this formula that's here. I just did Control V for it to have it pasted to you. So I'm just going to make sure that it's formatted as percentage. So if I change to any particular region, the average margin was 16.72 for the eastern region. Central could be minus 10.41%. So I'm just going to leave that there. And so you have that staring at you already. So I guess I'll just change the color to maybe blue. So anyway, I think I would like this to be centralized here. Likewise, this guy, I would like it to be centralized. This particular guy, I would like it also to be centralized. Then I'm going to create another KPI here. The next KPI I'm going to create is going to be top category. I want to know my top category. So I'm going to say Control C. So I'm going to say top category. So I think I'm just going to do this top category, and then I'm going to say Control V. Top category is definitely technology, right? So anyway, we're going to check this for all regions. Top category in all region is technology. Eastern region is technology. Western region happens to be furniture. Central region happens to be technology, and southern region has to be technology, which I completely agree with. I completely agree with that, because if you look at this guy, if you filter to, you find that only when it was in the, I think, the eastern region that or western region rather, that it was no longer technology that was leading. You can see for western region, furniture took the lead, so 52,000 in sales, while the technology was still at 251,000 in sales. So of course, yeah, I agree with that guy there. So I'm just going to centralize all of this guy, and then I'm going to change the, maybe I'll use green this time. Yeah, of course I should make this bold. Control B. Now the last KPI I'm going to be adding here would be the review alerts. So I'm going to say Control C right here, and then I'm going to put review alerts. So review alerts. Yeah, right here. So to change to all region, and I'm going to just do Control V here. 582 review alerts in all regions. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting, right? So most of our work is done already. We just have to create fancy, nice charts to fit in everything that we have. So that's going to be our next task now. Our next task is just put in fancy, nice charts to represent each of our different stuffs. So to do this is very, very simple, pretty much easy. So we are going to have, majority of our charts are going to be bar charts. So to do the first one for sales by category, I'm just going to highlight all of this, and then I'm going to go to insert, and then I'm going to find charts. And now I should not be looking at pie chart. I want to look at bar charts, right? that's what I want to look at. Or let me see if there's any other thing I'd like here. Yeah, I think I'll just let me use this column chart here instead, because this we can always try to do little edits there. So for now, I'm just going to make this small and just keep that there. I'm going to create another chart. The next chart is for uh average average margin by ship mode. That's purpose of having this next chart that is here. Don't worry about the arrangement. I'm going to arrange every single one of them. The next chart I'm going to be looking at is going to be the sales. That'll be the next chart I'll be looking at. I'm going to try to insert another chart now for this chart. Yeah, this particular guy now is going to cut across a very large so this particular guy is supposed to be, I don't want to use histogram. I would still like to use a bar chart here. Yeah, I would like to use a bar chart here. This guy is supposed to spread um across. So I'm going to use, yeah, this is more like it. Column chart is even better. Yeah, column chart is much more better for this. Okay, so this guy, I'm going to do my arrangement anyway when it's necessary. Then I'm going to do my average margin by discount brackets. So I'm going to insert chart. Yeah, column chart does the job perfectly also. So okay, and then lastly, my last chart would be the profits by subcategory. So I'm going to say insert charts, and then I think I'll just use my column charts to makes a lot of sense to me. So now let's start the arrangement of the various charts. So let's start with this. Let's come to this guy. Let's come to this guy that's here. So let's see. I will have 1 to 35. So I'm going to take the first 17. Oh, sorry. I'm going to take I'm going to be taking from 5 to 34. That's I'm going to taking down to 15 here. I'm going to take down to 15 here. Right, and then I would like to no, I'm going to take down to 20 instead. Yep, take down to 20, and then I'm going to place this here, and then I'm going to take it. We have A to M here: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. So I think I'll just take the first 60. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, I think that's fine enough. And I'm just going to do the same thing here. This is sales by category, right? The second chart should be ship mode by margin. So I'm going to spread this out here. I'm always free to do the titles whenever I like, so it's not a problem at all. So I think maybe I'll just reduce this guy here. I'm going to do this a little. I'm going to take this to bit of this here. Yeah, just going to place this guy here. Drag this guy. Reduce a little. Yep. Right. And then my third chart, I'm going to place my sales versus stays, because this is supposed to be a pretty long chart here. So I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to bring him up here. All these are just arrangements. You are free to do it however you wish. Anyway, these are just more like formalities, because I want to make my reporting, kind of orderly and all. So anyway, this is my sales by the different states that I have. So I'm going to shave this down a little.
choose down a little. I'm going to take this down a little, just a little. All right, so finally I have just these two guys here, and then I'm going to bring this down to this point, and I'm going to finish it up at this point. Okay, and I'm going to come to this point here, then I'm going to finish it up. All right, so we've done majority of our work now. We've done majority of our work. It's just to do little designs and all, and that will be everything. So I'm going to rename this to sales by category. This should be sales by category. Yep. For our second chart, the same thing is going to happen. The chart title, we're looking at second class and what have you. So that's going to be ship mode by margin. Ship mode by margin, right? Then the next chart we are going to have, this is sales by states. Yeah, you can see the differences that are listed there. Then this one is supposed to be the fourth chart is, it's supposed to be giving discounts. Oh, okay, sorry, this is a category, right? This should be profits based on the different category. Yeah, this is supposed to be a profits, or let's say subcategory profits per unit. So subcategory profits per unit. Yep. And then the last chart is supposed to be, we're supposed to look at discount brackets, or average margin by discount brackets. Average margin by discount brackets. All right, so that'll be all. We can choose to also look at, we can choose to change the theme. By theme we mean colors and what have you. So I can just decide to say, okay, I want to take this to fill color. Let's say I want to take it to, say, color orange. Yep, I can decide to change this and take it to, say, color green. So that's for me to decide. I can decide to take this and let's say I take it to color yellow. It's left for me to decide on that. So now I don't like yellow that much. I think a little shouty. Yeah, I think this is fine. So I'm just going to take this guy, and then I'm going to maybe I'll use this guy here. Cool. Then fine. I'm not so good with colors anyway. For me, most of the work I needed to do had been done by building those lookup tables. That's where most of the work was done. So now I'm going to show you something very interesting. I'm going to zoom out a little to 50, so that we can at least try to have a broader look at our dashboard that we have here for the trade flow. But this is what I'm going to, let me zoom back to, let me zoom to 100. It's 100, so let's take this 75. So I'm going to change the filtering. First of all, observe all of this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can look at the way all the charts are. So I'm going to do a little filtering here to east, and you can see that everything has changed based on the different regions I have. All charts have adjusted, all values have also, they've also adjusted. Then I'm going to filter by west. You can see all charts have adjusted, likewise all values have adjusted also. The same thing is going to happen for the central region. Oh wow, central region had so much losses. All charts have adjusted too, all values have adjusted. And then lastly is the southern region. You have everything adjusting. So I'm going to take it back to all region.
But anyway, the focus of this project wasn't to design chart. The focus of this project was to answer all our questions, which we already did using Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. This last part is just if you want to communicate with your stakeholders. Alright, so from this particular project, starting with the first, I think we already answered all the questions. We can see that we've successfully answered all the questions here. The last case where it said the leadership could only check one dashboard once a week, what would it show them? That was where we had to do the filtering. They know that, okay, we have a single dashboard that we can work with now. Whatever values that they want to see, they just need to do their filtering. So this is where we wrap up this project. I hope you had a nice time. So much to learn, and it's a pretty much long one. I think me too, this project wore me out. I must say, pretty much tired too, because I mean I have so much here. But I think I'm much more sad. Why the dashboard may seem, let me say, fair enough. There's still so much work to be done in trying to reshape and, make things smaller and everything. But then I'm not so much of a pro, I guess, when it comes to designing dashboards. So my major focus was on answering these questions in Q1. Q1 question, which said which region, state, and category drive the most sales and most profits? Are they always the same ones? We can see that the most sales and most profits was driven by the western region here, right? Now, on the case of this is for the region, and for the case of states, the most sales was driven by California, and then likewise was the most profits. So, and we saw that because a state drives a lot of sales doesn't mean that it always drives a lot of profits here. We already saw that too. For example, in the southern region, you had a sales of $391,000 and a profit of $46,000. But the central region had a higher sales, but then you still had less profits. So that already answered that question one day. In question two, they said which subcategory generates strong profits per unit sold, and which one moves a lot of volume but barely makes or losing money. So looking at strong profits per unit, so that was Q2. That was there. Strong profits per unit, so and the ones that was doing a lot of money. You had, okay, let's try to look at this. Average profit per unit. The copiers was the category that generated the highest profit per unit, right? And then the ones that had high volume, high total units sold, but still were in losses. You had something like the furnitures, right? Happened in two cases. The first two cases are even the furnitures that are there. The third question was how does discount level affect profit? Is there a point where discounting pushes profit to become negative? We can see that higher discounts actually led to what? Negative profits. From above 21% of discount, you had negative profit. And then the Q4 that said, does shipping mode relate to profitability at all? Are there certain shipping modes quite easy? Of course, definitely shipping modes relate to profitability. For example, shipping using on the same day actually gave a higher profit margin, right? Oh, sorry, shipping on through second class gave the highest profit margin, and then same day shipping was the next, and first class was the next, and then lastly was the standard class. And then the answer to the fifth question was the dashboard that we just built. Management can decide to have just one dashboard, and then they are able to, make a decision around it. So at this point, what's in full screen for me? Okay, okay. So it's always very important that you can, try to create something nice on your own. So if you're an expert watching this video, this might be quite an interesting one, and you probably have a better understanding of how things work. If you are just getting started in your data analysis career, do not worry, this is just to whet your appetite. Along the line, you can check out my playlist from where I'm taking beginners to pro, and that will be it's going to make a lot of sense to you if you follow our channel closely. So please do not forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to drop the link to this project in the descriptions, and remember to add this project to your GitHub. If you check our projects playlist, you'd see I made a video. For those of you who do not know how to add your project to GitHub, I made a video already on how to add your project to GitHub. So you can do well to follow it and just add this project to your portfolio on GitHub. It will be very, very nice to have. It's a real world scenario, it's a realistic scenario. I only changed the name to Trade Flow Retail Performance Dashboard anyway. So that's that. I'm going to drop my mail if you have feedbacks for me, and then do well to join our Telegram channels and our Telegram description group. Thank you very much for watching this video.